Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day, the channel that keeps you up to date with all the latest goings on from Ibrox. Guys, if you need to make sure you never miss out on any content, I mean anything, then hit the sub, ring the notification bell, and then you're never going to miss out. You're not going to miss out on any of the free, that's right, free content. Well, it's been a pretty crazy week in the world of Rangers. But you know what? It's been a crazy week since the season ended after that St Mirren game. It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week after crazy week after crazy week after another crazy week. Rangers have obviously signed, 8 players now, officially 8 players. Looks like 9 by the end of next week, possibly even 10. We'll talk about that shortly. We beat Hamburg last Saturday. We then lost in appalling fashion to Olympiacos. What we thought was an absolutely shocking performance, in particular by some people like Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, were absolutely awful. Personal opinion, Borna Barisic should never pull on a Rangers shirt ever again. Now we're obviously building up tomorrow to playing TSG Hoffenheim from the Bundesliga. Played apparently 16 consecutive seasons in the Bundesliga now. We're safe from relegation last season by bringing a new coach. And we're also going to have a little bit of a talk about that game tomorrow. So we're going to talk about the signings. We're going to talk about, we're also going to talk a little bit about John Bennett and James Bisgrove and the role they've played this summer and how different it has been this summer from Rangers board. And how we need to start giving a little bit of credit, maybe? Or is that too left field to credit the board? Wow, amazing. Well, let's start off with signings. And obviously, the big news of yesterday was the signing of Danilo. I got slaughtered yesterday for dropping the L. Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, he signed for Rangers yesterday, and it looks like he'd be wearing the number 99. Now, apparently, this has caused a bit of a stir amongst certain traditionalists who don't want to see a player wearing the number 99. Yeah, there's a great number of fans who actually are looking forward to seeing him in the number 99 shirt. Personally, I think it looks great. I think it looks superb. That's the number of goals he's going to get score past Celtic in his 5 years with the club, hopefully. But he is a quality player, Danilo. He is someone who's going to bring in a real change, I think. He's a marquee signing. He sends a message, a clear, crystal clear, beautiful sounding message across the city. We're coming to get you. And I think that's pretty clear. Absolutely buzzing, to be honest with you, from the signing of this talented Brazilian player, a guy who, he's won the league the last 2 seasons. His goals and assists record in the last 2 seasons, or 3 seasons, if you include his Twente loan, have been pretty spot on. He is a quality player and he will make a real difference for Rangers. If you want any more details on that, obviously go back and check out yesterday's video that I dropped. Danilo, it's official. That was released yesterday. So I'm not going to talk a massive amount about him in this video. But he comes as obviously the 10th, technically, if you add into it Raskin and Cantwell, of Beale's tenure as Rangers manager. Now, let's look for a minute at the players that Michael Beale has brought in his time as Rangers manager. Nicholas Raskin, Todd Cantwell, Kieran Dowell, Dujon Sterling, Jack Butland, Sam Lammers, Abdallah Sima, yes, it's a loan, I know, Cyril Dessers, Leon Balogun, Danilo Pereira. You look at that, and with the exception of Balogun and Butland, the players are all under 30 years of our age. Raskin and Cantwell have already proved themselves and have looked pretty terrific. And Raskin seems to have come back doubly determined to be even more terrific this coming season. Todd Cantwell hasn't been in the best of forms and got a bit of criticism for that. Let's say dive, shall we, against Olympiacos. Wasn't the best idea, Todd. Don't get yourself a reputation, mate. And you know what, Chris Sutton, I couldn't give a monkey's what you've got to say on Twitter. You know what? Keep your opinions to yourself. You're a one-season wonder. You had one good season in football, and that was only because you played with Alan Shearer, so he got all the attention. So, mate, you know nothing. But, the players that he's brought in are quality. They're quality players. Dowell's looked good pre-season. Obviously, we haven't seen Dujon Sterling yet. Jack Butland looks solid. Sam Lammers looks a player, doesn't he? He looks a very technically gifted and skilled player. Abdallah Sima, we're yet to see the best of Sima, but I think, even at 22, he's still got room to develop. He's still got room to get better this season. And hopefully Michael Beale and his coaching staff can get the Abdallah Sima that we saw playing for Slavia Prague when he was 19 and he tormented Rangers. Searle Dessers, I think, is still lacking a little bit of fitness. That will come in time. And I think bringing in Danilo and bringing in players like that is certainly going to benefit Searle Dessers. I think that is, we've got a team now capable of creating an awful lot of chances. And I think Searle Dessers is someone who will benefit from that. Leon Balogun, obviously, I think is just a cover player. And Danilo Pereira is the marquee. The cherry on top of the cake, well, I suppose with Jose Cifuentes once he arrives next week. It certainly seems a mouth-watering possibility, doesn't it? If you look at our attacking options and our midfield, when everyone is fit, and if once we get Cifuentes across the line, a midfield of Cifuentes, Raskin, Cantwell, a front three of Lammers, Dessers, and Danilo. Is that not scary? Does that not send a message? Does that not make you think, wow, this is going to be a season where I'm not going to have to worry about Rangers scoring goals. I'm not going to have to worry about finding a striker who's going to get me 15, 20 plus goals a season. It'd be a case of who is going to get the next goal, who is going to score the majority of the goals in this team. I think in Danilo and Dessers, you've got players who can score 20 plus. Lammers, perhaps 10 to 15. You've got Cantwell should chip in with double figures. You've got Cifuentes could well get, I think, 5 to 10 this season as well. Raskin could chip in. You've got players who even come through that. Dowell, Sima, all players again. And it's options. Something we didn't have last season from the bench. So that's fantastic. And you know what? I'm going to praise two men in particular for this. Well, actually three. First of all, I'm going to praise the gaffer, the man himself, the boss man, the man in charge, Mr. Michael Beale. Michael Beale, take a bow, son. Take a bow. I read a brilliant comment by, I wish I could remember who it was by, on one of the videos earlier. The person put, he's a brilliant salesman. He certainly is. He's got that Cockney Barrow Boy salesman patter down to a fine art. He could sell snow to the Russians, couldn't he? He could sell ice to the Eskimos and he could sell coal to Newcastle. He really could. And I think his approach of meeting players, of being face-to-face with them, of selling his philosophy and selling the plan and selling the team has really bore fruit this summer. And I think having Michael there has been phenomenal. So part of the Triple B experience. That's right, guys. It's the Triple B experience. Also, I want to give credit to these men as well, to John Bennett and James Bisgrove. Now, this seems weird, doesn't it? Giving credit to the board. Wow. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to develop two heads. I'm going to explode. I'm going to develop something. I don't know. No, I'll be fine. Honestly, I'll be fine. We'll be fine. Look, we can give the board credit. Nothing's bad's going to happen to us. But I'm going to give the board credit because John Bennett and James Bisgrove have backed their manager. James Bisgrove spoke, didn't he, before the transfer window, how the board and the investors had approved Michael Beale's plan and they would do everything they could to get Michael the players he wanted. And John Bennett has really kind of been the guy who, since he's come in, has been a breath of fresh air, a clean brush through this club, moving this club into the 21st century, moving this club out of the dark ages and into a time where we are moving forward now. We are advancing at speed and we are really looking like a 21st century European superpower again. Well, getting there. Let's say getting there. I mean, if you look at the signings we've made this summer, Danilo, estimate. Now we do live in undisclosed terms, don't we? The world of undisclosed terms. But no, these are disclosed. Well, this is what people think. This is transfer market. This is what they possibly think was paid for the players. So 6.3 million euros for Danilo, 5.8 million euros for Dessers, 3.5 million euros for Lammers. Dujon was free, Kieran Dow free, Jack free, Leon Balogun free, Abdullah Sima a loan transfer. Now, before anybody says, oh, free transfers, that's nice, that's cheap. It isn't. It's not cheap because you've got to pay signing on fees, you've got to pay wages, because it tends to find if the player's on a free, he gets the signing on fee. So he does get a percentage of what the probable transfer could have been. So you've got to admire what Bisgrove and Bennett have done this summer in terms of putting their hands in their pockets. And well, perhaps not James Bisgrove, but James Bisgrove inspiring people to put their hands in their pockets and spend on players. Because you know what? All those experts out there, all those analysts that know everything, all those people that wear green and white across the city who tell us that we're skint, that we've got no money, that we're poor, that we're on the verge of going bust. Well, really? You obviously know precisely, well, that's what you know. It's on that piece of paper what you know. It's absolutely nothing. That's right, guys, you know nothing. Well, we know the lot. We know the green and white lot across the city know nothing, but they know nothing. We have got money. We spend that money wisely. Yes, we do need to raise some money now by selling players, but every club does that. Every club does that. You can't have a massive squad, where you've got players who can be unhappy, therefore bring down the morale in the squad. You've got to move players on, and that's something that now will happen as we move on through this transfer window. Who those players are, I'm sure we've all got those names in our heads of who we want to be moved on from the club. Yeah, one of the top of the names, obviously, people like Scott Wright, Glenn Kamara, Borna Barisic for me needs to be sold. John Lundstrom, Ben Davis. These are all players that have been linked with an exit from Ibrox. Now, one player who has been linked with an exit from Ibrox, who apparently the club had agreed a fee for, is Scott Wright. Now, Scott Wright has been seen back at Hoffenheim training with the Rangers first team. Now, there are strong rumours that his move to Turkey is off. Well, people say negotiations are ongoing. Some people say it's off. Some people say that he doesn't fancy Turkey. But I think it is a known fact that he will be moving on once a club can be found for him. But that doesn't appear at this moment in time to be pending sport. Apparently, he wants to go to a club that is similar to Rangers, which I think will be difficult for him, given how he's been over the last couple of seasons, not really having the chance to show what he is capable of. So an interesting one around Scott Wright. Okay, so let's look at the match today. It is match day, of course. It is match day, guys. We are away in Germany. We are playing TSG Hoffenheim. That's right, the German team from Hoffenheim. While it's a village, they actually don't play in Hoffenheim. They play at the next village along, apparently. They are apparently playing, preparing for their 16th successive season of Bundesliga football. Kramaric was their top scorer. More of him shortly. Their goalkeeper, Oliver Baumann, has made a record 330 appearances for Hoffenheim in all competitions. Matarazzo, who's their coach, their Italian coach, it's the first time he's ever faced Scottish opposition today when he takes on Rangers. And Rangers have players in Leon Balogun, Sam Lammers, and yes, that man Rotondo, who have made Bundesliga appearances, so are aware of Hoffenheim and what they bring. Now, Hoffenheim's pre-season has not been the best, shall we say. They won 3-1 against Astoria Waldorf, a lower division team. They then lost to Elversberg 2-1, and very recently lost another friendly with French team Strasbourg 2-1. So their pre-season is play 3, won 1, lost 2, draw none, scored 5, conceded 5 for a goal difference of absolutely 0. So their pre-season form is not the best. Now, we will be travelling to the Rhein-Neckar Arena tomorrow to take on TSG Hoffenheim in front of obviously their fans. There will be a large travelling contingent of Rangers fans, even though this is only a friendly game. And it's a quite a neat little tidy stadium if we look at it there, isn't it? The Hoffenheim Stadium. Their danger players, who are their players that are to watch out for? Well, Andrej Kramaric was the first name that was obviously mentioned in the article and has been mentioned by a number of people. Kramaric is a Croatian international, and he was their top scorer last season. What else do we know about Andrej Kramaric? Well, he's also played in the EPL for Leicester City. He started his career at Dynamo Zagreb. In his time with Hoffenheim, he's made 224 appearances, scoring exactly 100 goals. He's also represented his country 85 times, scoring 24 goals. So he is definitely one to watch tomorrow. And he will certainly give whoever our central defenders are tomorrow a good workout and a good test. Another player there, the Danish player on the end, is Robert Skov. He was born in Spain, weirdly, but he's a Danish international. He's made 12 appearances for Denmark, scoring 5 goals. He started his career at Silkeborg, he played for Copenhagen, and he's made 89 appearances for Hoffenheim, scoring 8 goals in that time. And the guy in the middle, obviously, is their goalkeeper, Baumann, who has obviously made those record number of appearances for the club. Now, Hoffenheim, haven't had the best of pre-seasons. How will they line up tomorrow? Well, the rumor is they will line up using a pretty strong team of Baumann, Kabak, Brooks, Vogt, Kaderbarek. Oh, I'm massacring these names here, boys and girls. Grilic, Becker, Bulta, Kramaric, Dama, and Dibu apparently will play tomorrow. That is the suggested lineup. Now, there's a number of suggested lineups for Rangers. Now, Michael Beale, in his post-match press conference after the defeat in Olympiacos, talked about taking a smaller, tighter group out to Germany. Talked about the fact that he would play probably as close to his strongest team as he can against Hoffenheim on Saturday. Now, a big lift for Rangers is that Danilo is available for selection and will be able to play in this friendly game. It's a friendly game, so that is good news. I don't think Danilo will start. I think he will play a part. He'll be off the bench. Now, when the starting lineup is... Where's the starting lineup? Here it is. This is my suggested starting lineup for tomorrow. Now, when this starting lineup is announced tomorrow, now, one thing I do not want to see under any stretch of the imagination is 3 players' names in that starting lineup. Number 1, I do not want to see Borna Barisic at left back. Actually, 4 things. Number 2, I do not want to see John Lundstrom anywhere near the starting 11. And number 3 and 4, I do not want to see Rabbi Matondo or Fashion Sakala on the pitch from the start. That is not what I want to see. If Michael Beale thinks that Rabbi Matondo and Fashion Sakala are the answer ahead of the players that we have, the Seamers, the Dessers, the Lammers, the Danilos, the Cantwells, those players of this world, then there is a big problem. Sakala and Matondo in particular is obviously not fit to lace the boots of any of those names I've mentioned. Sakala is a squad player. He's not a starting player. I know some Rangers fans really like him, and I know he's Marmite, but for me, he's not a starter. Don't start him. Now, this is the team I would start. I don't think Danilo will start. I would love to see him play, but I think he will come on at some point. Butland in goal, I think obviously has to play a full 90 minutes after not playing at all against Olympiacos in midweek. The back four pretty much picks itself at this stage, obviously given the injury to Connor Goldson and injury to Dujon Sterling, with Tav, Suter, Balogun. Now, I'd rather see Balogun at left side centre-back than see Ben Davis, the bomb scare, who, for me, is just not up to it. Ridvan at left back, he is by far a better left back than the very, very bad Borna Barisic. Barisic needs to be shipped out. Like I've said multiple times, we've got Devine, we've got Sterling can play left back, Yefko can play left back. We have cover there. Raskin, Cantwell, and Dowell, I think, should be the starting midfield. Obviously, you put Cifuentes in there if he had been signed by now. Front three: Lammers, Seema, and Dessers. That has to be the front three, with Seema getting obviously closest to Dessers and Lammers given a bit of license to roam out there. And obviously Seema also providing a bit of width as well. I think that is very important tomorrow. So that's how I would line up if I was picking the team tomorrow. And you might say, thank God, Owen, you are not picking the team. But that's my suggestion for the Rangers 11 to start TSG Hoffenheim. I think it's a 2:30 kickoff, I think it is. 2:30 UK time. I look forward to watching that game. Well, one final thing this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, depending on when you are picking up this video, is that there are strong rumours that Rangers will make a 10th signing this summer, that they have recognised the need to strengthen the centre-back room due to the lack of quality there. There is obviously a likelihood that someone will move on, possibly Ben Davis, but there is a strong rumour, I think it was written by Chris Jack of Rangers Review, that there is a strong rumour that they will move for signing number 10. More of that in another video. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching the video this morning. As always, or this afternoon or this evening, please hit that sub if you haven't done so already, guys. It's about 70% of the people who watch these videos haven't subbed yet. And we want to get to 3K by the end of August, if not before. So please help us by hitting that sub. Hopefully, we've earned your sub. And also, if you ring the notification bell, you'll never miss out. Now, I need you to do 2 things for me. Number 1, hit that like. And number 2, remember, always, we are the people.